you are an entrepreneur, business owner or marketer and you want to really connect with your audience of potential customers, then you're going to need to create video content that really resonates. Now, on the face of it, this might sound like a really scary prospect, but to create authentic video content that gives your audience value, you don't need to invest thousands of pounds in the latest camera technology. It can all start by using the camera in your pocket, your smartphone. Now, in this video series, I'm going to share with you some power tips to get you going on your video making journey, starting out by using your phone to film so that you can start benefiting from the power of video in your business right now. My name's Jeremy and I'm a video creator and video marketer with 20 plus years experience in UK broadcast TV, and I'm a huge digital marketing geek. My mission is to empower entrepreneurs, business owners and marketers like you to level up your video creation skills to power your business growth. So let's start. Tip number one, use the highest resolution phone camera possible. Now, most smartphones these days have incredibly highly spec'd cameras within them. You'll probably find that you've got two cameras in your phone, one selfie camera facing towards you on the same side of the phone screen, and the other one, which is typically a better quality lens, on the back of your phone. So to create the best quality picture for your video, simply use that camera. The selfie camera typically doesn't deliver the same quality of image, so therefore you might compromise the quality overall by using that camera. Tip number two, always look down the lens. Now, whichever camera you use, always make sure that you look down the camera lens itself rather than being distracted by your face on the camera. If you look at yourself on the phone whilst filming on the selfie camera, your eye line will look slightly weird. Does this really matter? Well, if you're wanting to genuinely connect with your audience, it absolutely does. In the real world, if you don't look at people in the eye, you come across as shifty and untrustworthy, and the same exact thing is true with video, because as humans we're looking for the same non-verbal cues as we would in real life. We still instinctively judge people based on a plethora of subtle factors, one of which of course is eye contact. So always work out where the lens is on your phone before you start filming, and make sure to always talk to the lens, not to the screen. Now, often with phones, the surrounds are dark or black, so making out exactly where the lens is, especially if you're filming outside, can be quite tricky. And one nifty little hack is to pop a little post-it note just beside the lens so you know where to look all the time. Tip number three, phone settings. Check your video camera settings to make sure that you're shooting in one of these formats: 1080p HD at 30 frames a second, at 60 frames a second, or 24 frames a second. 720p and 4K is fine too. Just be aware though, if you're shooting in 4K, you're going to be using a lot of memory. So just double check you've got enough before you start filming. In fact, irrespective of which settings you're using, check you've got enough space on your phone to store the video files once you've recorded. That's a really good habit to get into. So make that part of your pre-recording checklist. Now, the settings I've just listed are the kind of cooking settings that will work as a rule of thumb across the majority of phones. So as a first port of call, just use these. Now, if you want to dive into more detail about specific settings, there's a video that goes into the whys and wherefores of all of that. So make sure you check that out. I'll pop a link to that video in the description below. Tip number four, landscape or portrait. In terms of orientation, i.e. which way to hold your phone, portrait or landscape, I'd always recommend you film in landscape mode. This is because in this mode, you'll always have the opportunity in post-production to crop into the picture to make it a 1:1 or square format should you need to. Shooting in landscape, or 16:9 as it's also referred to, fits well into most social media news feeds and looks really good on video hosting platforms like YouTube and Vimeo. And quite frankly, 16:9 videos are much more aesthetically pleasing. Plus, if you're uploading a video shot in the portrait format, the platforms are the landscape format friendly. Your video will end up having vertical bars down the side, which is not a great look. So if you're starting out on your video creating journey, I would always suggest that you start out filming in 16:9 landscape mode. This will give you the maximum amount of flexibility, as well as being able to create images that are aesthetically pleasing. Now, before we get into tip number 5 and talk about where you need to position your camera relative to what you're filming, just a really quick request. If you're getting value from this video, please smash that little cheeky like button. It really helps us out as a channel, and it's really cool to know that we're creating content that works for you and helps you on your video creating journey. At the end of the day, that's what we're all about on this channel, empowering entrepreneurs, business owners and marketers like you to create great looking video content that will really genuinely help you grow your business. Now, if that sounds like your cup of tea, then I'd love you to join our community, and you can join us by simply pressing that cheeky little subscribe button. So let's crack on. Tip number 5 is all about eye lines. When you're filming on your phone, always think about where your phone is relative to your eye level. It's always much more flattering to shoot slightly above the eye line. That's to say, with the subject looking slightly up towards the camera like I am now. Making sure that the eye line and camera angle is right is so important. If you're shooting from down below or from way up above, it really doesn't make for comfortable viewing, and anything that makes the viewer uncomfortable is likely to mean they'll simply click off your video and disappear, and you'll never see them again. In most cases, shooting a subject from slightly above the eye line will work really well and produce a really flattering image. Effectively, what you're doing is mimicking a natural point of view, as if the viewer was engaged in a conversation with whoever is on screen. Now, really quickly, before we jump into tip number 6, I'd really love to hear from you and understand what the roadblocks are to you creating your own video content for your business. What do you find most difficult? Please do let me know in the comments below so I can create content focused on helping you on your video making journey. So please do take a second to let me know your thoughts. I'd really appreciate it. Right, tip number 6, zooming in. I'd always advise not to use the digital zoom feature on your phone camera. The digital zoom will reduce the quality of your video output because effectively it reduces the resolution by doing its digital zooming wizardry. And what you generally find is that the further you zoom in, the blurrier the image will get as the image becomes pixelated. Of course, the other thing that happens is the further you zoom in, any minor wobbles in terms of you holding the camera will be really exaggerated, so a steady shot is virtually impossible. The bottom line is, as a rule of thumb, film with the lens at its widest, i.e. not zoomed in at all, and then you'll be outputting the highest possible resolution file. So listen, we've made great progress with our mobile filmmaking video tips. Coming up, we'll be diving into how to capture great quality audio on your mobile device, and we'll be also looking at how to find the best lighting setup so that your pictures really pop. Make sure that you tap the screen in a second to learn more key tips to creating great looking mobile video. In the meantime, please do smash that little like button, and if you want to be kept in the loop in terms of content just like this, then please do think about subscribing to our channel. See you in a second. Thanks for watching and take care. Cheerio.